Hi everyone, I'm Virginia Killmore and welcome to my studio. Can you believe that tomorrow's December 1st? I can't. I spent the weekend enjoying time with family and having fun. We have a small little pod, my family, and we sort of try to stick to one another so that we can spend time. My grandbaby and I went to get a Christmas tree with the rest of the family, and that was really fun. In fact, the little ornaments in this card remind me of what I saw. They had hung in the woods through a little walkway Christmas ornaments, and I thought, what a pretty idea. So I'm going to be taking that idea for my cards, for my Christmas, which we're going to spend down at my husband's cabin in the woods. So let's get started with our card. So see these little ornaments? They were hanging everywhere in the woods where we went to pick our Christmas tree. It was so pretty. It was like a little walkway with all these little ornaments, and I love the idea of doing that down at my husband's cabin because it's right in the middle of the woods. So this week I'm in the mood to do Christmas cards, so we're going to be doing quite a few this week. And this is Case a Card Monday. Casing means taking an idea from someone and either copying it directly or using components of it. So this is the card that I saw from Heidi Collins, and I loved it. I thought it was so pretty, but it wasn't my colorway. Just the pink and the green, it was pretty, but I figured that's for more people that live in Florida, I guess. I guess I'm discriminating that way, but up north we love our dark and deep colors, and so I wanted to stick with that. So that's the color I did it. So I used the same layout, but I used my own supplies and my own ideas for how the card came together. And as we're talking about that, I want to remind you that this catalog is soon to be gone. So if you haven't ordered something, please do so soon. But let's get started with the card. So the first thing we're going to need is an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock. And I'm going to set that aside, but I can go ahead and place my green 5.5 by 4.25 piece of cardstock on here. I'm going to get that glued down so that when I go ahead and put my ribbon on my designer series paper, it's from Heartwarming Hugs, that's what we're using. And I'll show you that paper, it's so pretty. I'm pretty sure I've shown it to you before, but Heartwarming Hugs is somewhere in here. There it is. So today we're using, actually we're not using that one, I just realized. This one is 'Tis the Season, and I don't have that on here, so I can't even show it to you. That's a 6x6 pack of cardstock, and that pack has really pretty papers. They're all 6x6. Actually, I have it right here. Look at how pretty that is. There's deep reds and nice greens as well. So lots of pretty paper, and I've used quite a bit. There's quite a bit gone. But the 6x6 size is nice because it's already cut down. And this piece will go on here, but I'm going to be putting ribbon on that. But I'm going to wait till I do my stamping before I do that. So I'll set that aside. And now I'm going to do a technique that is called masking. And I know I showed it to you before, but we'll do it again. What I'm going to do is first stamp this tree on here, and I'm going to be doing that in shaded spruce because it has to be a little bit darker than the cardstock to show up. I mean, it would show up if I stamped it in garden green, but not as nicely as it does when I use this. And masking is just that. You are covering up a section of the cardstock, and I would go ahead and cut that out. Here's one that I cut out earlier, and I'm going to use that again. And notice I cut it very close to the edge, because what I want is it to cover up the lines, but not so much that I get a little halo around it. I'll explain what that means. But sometimes when you mask, because you have that edge, it doesn't quite catch a section of the cardstock, so it's important that you're really close to that edge. Sometimes I cut on the inside of the line. Now this paper doesn't have that, the stamp, so I have to sort of decide where that is. And that's crooked, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp the other side. That's why we have two sides of cardstock. And I'm noticing the stamp pad really needs inking. So I'm going to my edges of my stamp pad to see if I can get a little bit darker color. And I think part of the problem is I have it on here crooked. I'm noticing that, so that makes it harder. So I have to really concentrate on getting it nice and straight. Let's see if the second time is any better. I'll leave it on for a little extra second. That's much better. It's still not perfect, but it's pretty good. I'm happy with that. I can live with that. So what I'm going to do is put this on so that it goes right to the edge of that line. I can almost see a little bit of it, and then I'm going to pick up my other stamp and ink that up really well. And I'm going to stamp right over it. And because that is covered up, it won't stamp into this area, and it appears to be behind the other tree, even though it's not. And I happen to have a sticky note that is got sticky note all over it, but you can get just a regular sticky note. Look at how nice that is. It looks like I was a pro stamper. So now what's left to do is our sentiment, and then put our card together. And I used a stamp set that we'll use later on in the week called Gift Wrapped. Well, maybe I didn't. Nope, I used Triangle. I used Joy and Cheer, and do you see how that's mounted straight across? Well, that would not fit here. So I sliced it in half, and then I played around with the placement of it. And I thought when I placed it here, it was a little too far apart. Now I could stamp it separately, but then the chance of screwing up is really bad. So I'm trying to get it as close as I can. And I'm going to go ahead and just stamp that on here. And I'm going to stamp it in the shaded spruce, punch it out, and then go ahead and do the ornaments. Just checking to make sure I got a good coverage. Okay, good. That came out good. And I'm going to get my little circle punch. It's my 2-inch punch. And I'm going to punch that out and then stamp my ornaments. I just think it's easier to sort of place them. So I'm going to go ahead and close this and get out my real red. And now I just have to find my ornaments, which are right here. I'm going to use this a lot this week. I love this little stamp. And I think I'm going to stamp it up here. I just want those lines to be just slightly above that circle. Isn't that pretty? Again, it reminds me of walking in the woods on Saturday. So now all I have to do is put my card together. This will fit in nicely. And the first part of that is getting this ribbon on here. So I'm going to take this piece of Designer Series paper and cut a piece of ribbon that's a little bit bigger than what I need. And I'm going to go ahead sort of get an idea of where I want it, because I want it slightly below here, so I have this little bit of red peeking through. Yep, I kind of like it there. Now I can flip this around and put tape on it. And I'm going to put 2 rows of tape because this is a big piece of ribbon and I'm afraid it'll come loose. I always flip it back over because you never know if it got moved when you put it on, and you want it nice and straight. Okay, and now I can attach it here with some glue. So I really like the fact that I love the layout of her card, but I found my own colors that worked for me. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Sort of centering it where I want it. And now all that's left is this and some decorative elements. I'm going to put some dimensionals on here. I love our dimensionals. They are just such a high quality. They always stick. And they look so nice. That just adds a little extra pop to my picture. So I really enjoy that. So all that's left now is a decorative element here. Now, you can do it 2 ways. You can use rhinestones and get a real red blend pen and go ahead and color that in. Or we sell actual red rhinestones, but it's just up to what you prefer. So I'm going to add one to the top of both of these trees. And with the concept that there's never quite enough bling, I think I'm going to add one right here. That looks pretty. We'll finish the other one off. This rhinestone's being very stubborn. So I hope you enjoyed that today. And tomorrow I will be live at 10:30, so you won't see me at 1 tomorrow. You'll only see me at 10:30. But we'll be doing a neat card design tomorrow morning. And I've already posted what you'll need, so if you want to follow along, make sure to get those items out. I will also post it on today's post so that you'll know. I hope to see you tomorrow at 10:30. Have a great afternoon, and I hope you get some stamping done today.